gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Imagine, let alone see it. Tonight, First Alert 4 is bringing you newly released video. It shows a driver running a red light in downtown St. Louis, ultimately killing a mother and daughter. While we're not going to show you the impact, we do want to warn you the video is very hard to watch.
So guys, we have another reckless driving situation, and this one is sad because it resulted in the deaths of two women, a mother and a daughter. So buckle up, no pun intended. This is going to be a tough one.
First Alert 4 investigator Susan Elcory is digging through new questions being brought about how the case is being handled.
The family tells us they're devastated by what happened here and they want answers and accountability. We know the crash was captured on this police crime camera video. And what's more, investigators say the driver had been speeding for blocks, going over 70 miles an hour, even passing right by City Police headquarters, which you can see a block away.
Mother and daughter walk together leaving the Drake concert when a Jeep flashes by. We're pausing the video as 42-year-old Letitia Brachero, known to many as Letty, and her 21-year-old daughter Alyssa Cordova are hit, throwing them down the street. Both died.
That video is terrifying.
First Alert 4 Investigates got this clip from a source. It's raising questions about the Valentine's Day crash in downtown St. Louis. Video shows mother and daughter crossing the intersection of 18th.
Woo! And this car was going extremely fast, not caring about who they were going to hit, not taking into account the lives that they're putting at stake. And this is the type of carelessness that is perpetuated ad nauseum in the community. And until we actually get a grip on it, we're not going to see any real change.
And Olive Streets. The driver, who police say is 22-year-old Monte Henderson, runs a red, going so fast you can barely see the Jeep before the video has to be paused.
So you see Monte's mugshot, okay? Doesn't look like a nice guy, and he is now responsible for the deaths of two women. But I really don't see any remorse in the mugshot, honestly. I don't understand any explanation for why he would be driving this fast. And from what I'm reading, it appears there won't be much accountability either from the community or the court of law.
Say is 22-year-old Monte Henderson runs a red, going so fast you can barely see the Jeep before the video has to be paused. Henderson is currently walking free on a bond that cost him $20,000.
Wow.
The judge feels like this individual is going to show up at their court date. Then the bond, as long as it's paid, the driver goes free.
Bond is up to the judge.
So we see the judge. It's safe to say this is a woke leftist judge, okay, potentially propped up by Soros as well. And we're seeing this happen over and over again, where the criminal justice system is completely infiltrated by woke judges, woke DAs, woke prosecutors who aren't going to really lay down the law for law-abiding citizens. They're going to pretty much remove accountability from these super gremlins who are really doing reckless things that are unnecessary. But when you see these people and they know that they aren't going to face any consequences for their actions, they're going to continue to, you know, commit the same type of crimes and, you know, and just present the same behaviors. It's sad.
This case, Judge Annette Llewellyn. First Alert 4 Investigates asked prosecutors if they objected to bond. A spokeswoman said they weren't at the hearing where it was set, which she called typical.
Is that typical?
For serious crimes, no. If this was murder, I'm pretty sure they would have been there. But for minor violations, traffic infractions, probably not.
Henderson faces 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. It's a felony, but lesser charge compared to murder.
It goes to what he was thinking. If he premeditated, it's murder 1. If he's just recklessly driving, which is probably what he was doing, didn't think he was going to hit anybody, didn't really care, that's manslaughter.
Prosecutors say they can't talk about why they picked those charges because it's a pending case. In court records, police say Henderson sped for blocks, running multiple red lights and topping 70 miles an hour, double the limit on most of the street.
Somebody took them from us. We'll never have them back.
Family telling First Alert 4 the day after the crash, they want answers.
They loved life. They loved doing things. They loved being out. They loved being surrounded by people and just having a good time.
The crash highlights a long-running problem in the city.
People who are running red lights are a real menace and a constant concern.
This time, costing a mother and daughter their lives.
The family tells us they have a lot of questions about how this driver is currently out on bond. We know he has another hearing set for Tuesday, something we'll continue to follow. In downtown St. Louis, Susan Alcori, First Alert 4 Investigates.
The driver is being represented by local defense lawyer Scott Rosenblum. We have reached out to him at this point tonight, are waiting to hear back. We do know both police and the courts, though, have declined to comment. A petition with more than 300 signatures is being shared online right now, calling for that driver to have his bond revoked. Also,
on the car crash, new details tonight on the car crash that killed a Chicago mother and daughter in St. Louis. They were run over by a reckless driver after leaving a Drake concert.
Their family is now asking for help as the driver is facing charges in their deaths. CBS 2's Maribel Gonzalez is live with what she's learned tonight about these women.
And you know what? I mean, this judge should be ashamed of herself. We always talk about female solidarity, but when it comes to these woke judges and woke DAs and prosecutors, they don't really care about 2 dead women. It's really sad to say, and I hate to say it so frankly, but I mean, what other evidence do we have of the contrary, right? When you have a man who obviously was driving extremely reckless and just brutally ran over 2 women. What do you say about that? Why do you allow him to post a bail for something so violent and reckless?
Neighbors of the mother and daughter tell us they were extremely close, so it's no surprise to them that they went to this concert together. What they're so shocked and so saddened to hear about, though, is just how their night ended.
Super fun-loving, energetic, just full of life and wanting to make memories and just have fun.
That's exactly what Nicole Rivera says her 42-year-old cousin, Leticia Bracero, and her daughter, 21-year-old Alyssa Cordova, were doing Tuesday night. The 2 were leaving a Drake concert in downtown St. Louis, Missouri, when police say they were struck and killed by a driver they've identified as 22-year-old Monte Henderson. They say the suspect was driving at a high speed, ran through a red light, sideswiping a car before striking Leticia and Alyssa, who were walking in the crosswalk.
But they were genuinely good people.
Marlena McLaurin has known the mother-daughter duo for 15 years. She lives in the same Garfield Park multi-unit as they did.
We would sit out on the porch during the summertime and listen to the fireworks, have our cocktail. We just enjoyed each other's as neighbors.
Wow. And that's sad. So many lives affected, so many lives impacted by the, just brutality of this incident.
And they were a loving mother and daughter.
It's the same way their relationship is described in a GoFundMe page apparently organized by family members. Letitia worked as a supervisor at a local bank, while Alyssa, her only child, was going to college and working at a Starbucks. The post says Alyssa loved music concerts, and although she was old enough to travel to concerts on her own, her mom would always escort her.
So that should tell you that they were very close.
Police say the suspect driver also T-boned another car in the crash. 4 other people, including the suspect, were injured, but all expected to be okay. Letitia died at the scene while Alyssa was taken to the hospital before she too died.
They're so much more than that. They're our family, and we love them, and we're gonna miss them. And they're not just 2 people who died, you know, trying to cross the street.
The family is raising funds to bring the mother and daughter home here to Chicago. Meanwhile, police tell us the suspect is facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Reporting live from the control room, Maribel Gonzalez, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Matt.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
New at 10 tonight, surveillance videos raising new questions about the crash that killed a Chicago mother and daughter in St. Louis.
They had just left a Drake concert when the driver blew through a red light. This is new surveillance video of the incident released as the driver appeared in court today. CBS 2's Maribel Gonzalez is live in the newsroom where there's outrage that the driver is out on bond. Maribel.
Yeah, Joe and Erica, there's outrage from the family and also from hundreds of people who have watched that graphic video online. And also because the suspect was initially released after posting $20,000 bail less than 24 hours after he was first charged earlier this month. Tuesday, he was back in court after the prosecution asked the judge to impose new restrictions.
New video shows the moment 42-year-old Letitia Bracero and her 21.
And you can just tell these are just 2 innocent women who cross paths with a horrible individual, you know. And this guy, he has no remorse. Most likely after he did this, he was smoking on an op pack, right? Because this is how these guys look at situations like this. And they never take accountability. They become the perpetual victims, and the reason why, or his justification, is going to be, oh, well, the system. It's the system's fault.
1-year-old daughter, Alyssa Cordova, were fatally struck by a driver in St. Louis, Missouri. The Chicago duo had just left a Drake concert on Valentine's Day. In the clip, you can see them crossing the street. And on the right side of the screen, watch as this Jeep runs the red light at a high speed, T-boning a silver SUV and striking Letitia and Alyssa from that impact, or not showing the moment they were hit. According to court records, the driver, who police say is 22-year-old Monte Henderson, sped for blocks, going as fast as 70 miles per hour, double the speed limit on that street. The graphic video, posted and shared widely on social media, leaked as the suspect is free on bond, facing multiple charges including 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter.
Not thrilled that the tape was released. I'd like to get to the bottom of that. I don't understand why and how it got released into the general public this time.
Tuesday, a judge ordered Henderson be put on house arrest and surrender his driver's license. During that court hearing, prosecutors read victim impact statements. Alyssa's father saying, in part, this senseless act stole every dream and milestone unachieved. Our family deserves to see accountability for the future she never had.
Now, the suspect is due back in court next month. Meanwhile, a relative of the victims told us they're heartbroken and they're preparing for their funeral on Sunday. Live in the newsroom, Maribel Gonzalez, CBS 2 News.
This is just moments after Monte Henderson left the courthouse Tuesday morning. He's been out on bond after being charged with manslaughter, accused of killing 2 women from Chicago in town for the Drake concert. This week, video of the incident surfaced on social media. 5 on Your Side has decided not to show the moment of impact, but the video leading up to the crash shows the car speed toward the women in the intersection. Prosecutors say Henderson was going at least 70 miles per hour when he raced through a red light.
Horrible.
Family members of the victims, Leticia Bracero and her daughter Odysse Cordova, say the video is difficult to watch. In court Tuesday, prosecutors read a statement on behalf of those family members, and they asked for justice and said Henderson used his vehicle that night as a weapon. Meanwhile, the attorney for the suspect, Scott Rosenblum, is also upset. He believes the video's release could be an issue with jury selection.
I'm not thrilled that the tape was released. I'd like to get to the bottom of that. I don't understand why and how it got released into the general public this time. I mean, obviously the family wasn't happy with it. You know, it apparently went viral. I don't know, but you know, it has an effect on everybody.
Initially, a judge released Henderson on a $20,000 cash bond, but he didn't have any restrictions. Now, after Tuesday's court appearance, he must wear a GPS monitor, surrender his license, and can only leave his house for medical or court appointments.
So he is on house arrest while these 2 women are dead. These super gremlins are on demon time.
For bringing you the very first in-person view of the man accused of running down a mother and daughter downtown. Tonight, some of Monte Henderson's freedom has been frozen. A judge is keeping Henderson on house arrest 24/7 until he goes to trial.
This comes less than 24 hours after we showed you new video of the deadly accident. And again, we do want to warn you, this video can be unsettling.
And the victims were visiting downtown from Chicago for a concert.
And I think you kind of gotta reframe it and change the verbiage when you say accident. Was this really an accident? I don't think so. It looked very much intentional, and you can see by the outrageous speed that he was going that he wanted something bad to happen that night, for sure. And he got his wish, man. These super gremlins are on demon time.
A couple weeks ago, police say this video shows Henderson flying down Olive, running a red light, hitting the 2 women. We're not going to show you the moment of impact. It's really just honestly too jarring. Despite the judge's actions today, the victim's family, even legal experts, question Henderson's initial bond as well as charges. First Alert 4 investigator Susan Elcoury takes those questions right to the city prosecutor.
Family claims what you'll see in this video is a driver who doesn't deserve to be walking free, and they believe releasing him sends a dangerous message. But today in court, we saw a shift as the judge put more restrictions on that freedom.
Hood on, covering his face with his hair, Monte Henderson walks into court Tuesday, leaving less than an hour later without a word as his family tries to grab our camera. First Alert 4 Investigates was the first to show you this video we got from a source showing Leticia Bracero, known to many as Letty, and her daughter Odysse Cordova. It's Valentine's Day. They're leaving the Drake concert, crossing the intersection of 18th and Olive Streets in downtown St. Louis when a Jeep runs a red light. We're stopping the video before the 2 are thrown down the street and killed. It happened so fast you can barely see the Jeep. Police say the driver is 22-year-old Monte Henderson, accusing him of running reds and driving speeds topping 70 miles an hour on downtown streets.
Wow. And imagine that. I mean, you got streets that are so narrow. You got one-way streets. You got all types of surprises that could happen in these downtown alleyways. And for him to be going 70 miles per hour on these roads, it's absolutely insane.
Weren't allowed in court as prosecutors read statements from the family asking the judge to revoke Henderson's bond and calling his driving reckless. Letty Bracero's sister writing, "They were my world. Our family will never be the same, and you took that from us." Reporting by First Alert 4 Investigates uncovered prosecutors were not at Henderson's first hearing, where Judge Annette Llewellyn let him out on a bond that cost him $20,000. Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore not answering directly why his office wasn't at that hearing.
The matter went to a judge for an initial bond review. The judge reviewed it and issued a bond.
This time the hearing was in front of Catherine Durker, and prosecutors were in court fighting for stricter conditions on his bond. Henderson's defense lawyer asked for leniency, saying this is Henderson's first arrest. The judge ultimately put Henderson on 24/7 house arrest with a GPS monitor, and he also had to surrender his driver's license.
Monte, what do you have to say to the family?
As Henderson goes from court to across the street to get his GPS monitor, he again hides his face while...
So you can see his ratchet parents trying to save him, trying to be like, you see his mama getting in the way like, y'all better get my... The attitude. No respect for the family, no remorse. It's just mine's versus yours.
Family tries to shield him.
Do you have anything to say to the family?
Ankle monitor on, he gets into a waiting car and drives off.
We'll never have them back.
Family of Letty Bracero and Alyssa Cordova tell First Alert 4 they want answers, including why Henderson was charged with involuntary manslaughter, a felony but lesser charge compared to murder.
Right.
We took that concern to prosecutors.
I don't discuss pending cases.
So this is the prosecutor. We saw the judge. I mean, how can you say that there isn't a bias in the way that they are administering the law at this point? It's really scary. Nobody should be above the law. I don't care if you're black or white, but it's starting to seem like these people's agenda or their train of thought is, well, we're going to make up for all the years, the alleged years of injustice and racial discrimination and mass incarceration, whether it was justified or not. So I think that's how a lot of these district attorneys, prosecutors, judges are ruling. And this is why we have a society that's getting more and more violent and not less violent, because they're not holding the violent people accountable, even when they're dead wrong. Like this guy, Monte Henderson, is dead wrong. But you have these people who were voted in or appointed, whatever, and essentially they control the courts. And this is what I said, the left systematically controls the country because they've infected every single part, even the small towns that you think have not been touched. They've been completely infiltrated by super woke leftist DEI hires. I mean, it's getting so bad, and this family deserves justice, but unfortunately, I just don't believe that there are going to be real repercussions for this super gremlin's actions, especially when you have this clown show of a prosecutor and a judge who are playing softball. They got kid gloves, sock 'em boppers on with this murderer, double murderer, in fact.
Confident that based on the facts of this case, we have made the correct charging decisions.
Family point back to the video, saying it shows a mother and daughter who should have made it home.
In court today, we learned this video is just the beginning. Prosecutors say they have more video from that night showing Henderson nearly missing other cars and people on the street. We've asked police for surveillance footage they have, but we're told they can't release anything because it's still being investigated. We're also learning Henderson had multiple speeding tickets, including one almost a month before the crash, where he's accused of driving more than 20 miles over the speed limit. A lot we're going to keep following here. Susan Elcory, First Alert 4 Investigates.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.